Okay, finally I'm gonna do my own recipe. It's a 0 point recipe. It's something that I make all the time. Uh, I went to the Food Lion, the local Food Lion here. I spent like an hour in there hitting my phone, trying to find the point system on everything. And I was happy to find out that nothing has any points. The only time there's any points in any of this is on the toppings at the end. Um, so what I'm going to make is a Mexican style chicken soup. It's my favorite. Anytime I go to the Mexican restaurants, I always get it. It's like really clean and fresh and just good. It's a little bit chilly here today, so I was like, perfect time for some soup. But anyhow, basically, I just got some skinless, boneless chicken breast, white meat, 0 points. I got, wow, I don't know about this, but I got this delicious carrots, red tomatoes. And by the way, if you're not a tomato person, a lot of times there is no tomatoes in the soup when you go to the Mexican restaurant. So I just like it in it. I've went to a few, and so I put it in mine. There's celery. There's jalapeno. Jalapeno is a topping. You don't cook with that. There's zucchini and squash. It's not always, the zucchini and squash is not always in it either. I just happen to like it, so I'm going to put it in mine. But you don't have to have it. If you don't like it, leave it out. Most of the time when you go, literally, it just has the chicken, garlic, celery, carrots, cilantro. But this is like super simple. And if I would have thought about it earlier, I would have just put it all together and threw it in my crock pot and it would already be done. But I still have a blue apron recipe and I thought I was going to do that tonight, but then it was a little bit chilly and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do my own little thing. So let me get some of this stuff chopped up. Oh, and this is another thing. You can put this in your crock pot, leave, go to work, come back, and it is done. Or if I'm usually after work going to do it like this, normally what I would do is I would take this chicken and I would put a couple teaspoons of olive oil in it and fry the chicken up real quick and do the same with the carrots. But what I found out today when I was in the Food Lion scanning everything, the frying part of all of these recipes is 4 points for a tablespoon. And I'm like, 4 points? So really everything I'm doing is like 13 points or this many points. 4 of them is the oil that I just put in the pan. Seriously, I think baking and boiling might be just a little bit better because I would normally fry a little bit of the chicken and fry a little bit of the carrots so that it got done quicker after work instead of boiling it for an hour. But I'm going to boil it, so I get 0 points. The only reason there's any kind of points to this whatsoever is if you go to one of the Mexican restaurants, a lot of times, and not always, but a lot of times, they'll put a little bit of rice at the bottom. 1 cup of rice is 5 points. So I spent a lot of time scanning. It didn't matter if I got jasmine rice, white rice, brown rice, whatever. If it was rice, it was 5 points. You know what? I'm not in love with the rice in the soup. Sometimes it does make me feel a little bit more full. But tonight, I feel like 0 points. I did get some rice just in case by the time an hour goes by, I get hungry. And I'll throw, a cup of rice in there, split it between my husband and I, and make 2.5 points. But also, the corn chips, they're all so good. They crinkle on top of the soup, and I really do enjoy that part. 10 chips is 5 points. I scan. You do have to scan the bags because they were different, but almost all of them was 5 points for 10 chips. If you want the chips, which does make it good, I did not buy the chips. I was like, no, I'm not having the 5 points. I didn't even buy them. And then 2, the raw avocado, which is not something that you cook in it, but you just put in it afterwards, just for texture, and it's just really good. That was a whole, I wrote that down. What was my avocado? 3 points. And that's only for a quarter of an avocado. So the whole avocado is 12 points. So just for a quarter, which would probably be like 2 slices, 3 points. I have avocado in my refrigerator. I might do it. We'll find out. Right now, I'm going to go for 0. So I'm going to take a minute and cut things up. The way I usually do it is boil the chicken. It has skin and everything on it, and I make a nice broth. I'm not going to do that because the chicken broth is 0 points, and I don't have to mess with skinning it or anything. So we're going to do it the easy way. It's going to be flavorful, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, everything's chopped up. Basically, I had the white chicken breast, cut it up into big giant chunks, because the Mexican soup's supposed to come across like a big piece of chicken. It's not supposed to be like, you know, just little pieces. So you just put that in here, and if you don't have time, you can be tricked by that daggone olive oil that is the same amount of points as your canola oil, your corn oil, and all of that. I was so disappointed with that. I'm serious. I thought I was being so good using that. It just totally shocked me. But that coconut oil, 7 points. Jeez, what a trick. But anyhow, just put it in here. Typically, like I said before, I would boil it all together with salt and make my own broth. But this is 0 points. And again, I checked the thing. Didn't matter if I got the one with the salt or the one without the salt. So I'm like, what? So I'm cheating. I'm sure it's going to be just as delicious. I'm putting 2 of the big ones in only because I plan on eating some of this and taking some to work tomorrow. But, because there's no way we're going to eat all this today. This is a 2-day thing here. I was very sad to find that out. But you can do the salt free. You can do the one with salt. Just some it's the same as Swanson's. If it is Food Line brand, it did not matter. Wow, I don't know though. You might not want to put both of them in because this is looking pretty full. And then I cut my carrots up, just in little small carrots to boil. I don't see why you couldn't just buy the ones that were already cut up. I will tell you this, I used 1 carrot. I have made this and put too many carrots in it, and it wasn't all that good. It was just too sweet, and it changed the taste. So I just put 1 carrot in. I chopped up 1 onion. I did it in big, gigantic chunks because as it boils, it'll fall into little smaller chunks. I use about, not a stalk of celery, but like a quarter stalk, like cut it in 4 pieces into small chunks because I'm not into eating the big chunks of celery in soup, but you do need more to make the flavor right. So I left this one big because I'm just going to pull it out. I just have to have it for the flavor. I used about this much cilantro, leaves only. We will top this with cilantro, but if you boil too much cilantro in it, it could be overpowering. And I love cilantro, so if I tell you it's overpowering, it is. So I don't know exactly. Whoops, I'm dropping it all over my floor. You do not have to put the tomatoes in it to get this taste, but I did. I'm getting a little bit used to the little cherry tomatoes. I've never made it with cherry tomatoes, but I took about 7 cherry tomatoes and cut them into 4 pieces each, just to give it that flavor that I like. And you do not have to put this in. Almost my whole entire life, I never put zucchini and squash in this, but I'm going to because I went to a Mexican restaurant and they put it in there. I was like, yum, that was pretty good. So we'll put put that in. We won't put as much in as I cut because it won't fit in my pan. But I'll add it later when it boils down. And absolutely positively, we all know we have to have the garlic. And look what I bought so I don't have to chop it up, a giant one. I've got like 4 whole garlic things in there, but I'm gonna put 1 heaping teaspoon because you will need it in here. Cumin. Most of my life I did not use the cumin, but now that I know what cumin is, what it tastes like, what it smells like, it's delicious in there. So I don't measure anything, so just shake, shake. Shake, shake pepper, because we don't want this to be spicy. If there's any spice to it, it's just like if you want to top it with some raw jalapenos, just put it in there. And that's it. We're done. This is going to cook for an hour. If I would have had forethought, I would have put it in my crock pot and came home and it would have been done. We'll top it off with chopped onions and chopped jalapenos. If you like them, I do. I know there's onions in there cooking, but it's a different texture to have the onions in the soup raw. You can also top it with the avocado, the corn chips, which makes it so delicious, but I'm not gonna do it today, and also the rice, but I'll be back in about an hour. Okay, it is finally done, and it has, whoops, I'm knocking stuff everywhere, ginormous piece of chicken in it. So you will definitely get full. Wow. The broth is delicious, so be sure to put a lot of broth in it. Broth is so good. And there's giant pieces of chicken, and every single thing in here is free. Free points! I'm talking free points. Even my toppings, I'm going to throw some onions in it. If you don't like onions, don't put them in there. These are just toppings. I'm going to put some jalapenos on top. Only because I love them and my husband does too. And no matter what, put the cilantro on there. And this is what it is. It's absolutely delicious. You can eat as much